Mexico has a history steeped in religion. But today, it has become the epicenter of a new faith spreading throughout the world. All over the country, people are taking to their roofs to watch the skies. They believe they're witnessing a wave of extraterrestrial craft.
If you are going to a different planet, where would you go? Where you are well received?
These are stories of myth and madness, personal quests to find the truth, and faith that we are not alone in the universe.
They said at the very beginning that it was political suicide to get involved in UFOs.
Galileo showed the moons of Jupiter to the three cardinals where they didn't want to see them.
If you never try to look, you know the chance of success is precisely zero.
There's an alien in my bathroom, and that's just not a common occurrence.
These beings are humans. They look just like us.
In Bonnybridge, central Scotland, the local councillor is on a mission to solve a mystery. He's demanding answers from the very top.
Dear Prime Minister, for over 5 years, the people both you and I represent have witnessed the phenomena in the area that have yet been left unexplained. I wrote to your predecessor, John Major. I have also contacted our local MP, Dennis Canavan.
Billy Buchanan is calling for a government inquiry to find out why his town has the highest number of UFO sightings in Britain.
I appeal to you, Mr. Blair, get this phenomenon investigated. Yours faithfully. This is one of the most exciting videos that was taken locally. Nobody here going to tell me that that's anything else but a UFO.
A couple claimed they shot this glowing object while out for a drive.
We're not saying it's a flying saucer coming in from Mars or anywhere else full of wee green or grey men. This is something that's flying in the skies over Bonnybridge. This is something that's been flying in the skies of Bonnybridge for over 6 years now, and all we want is an answer to what that is.
A man said he filmed this UFO darting around over his home in the area.
If you look at the objects that are shown in this video clip here, I mean, there's no conventional aircraft can do what this object's doing. It's absolutely phenomenal. This object has gone up at incredible speeds to incredible heights and doing manoeuvres that no plane, helicopter that we know of conventionally could do this. We have one of the largest populations of old age pensioners in the whole of the UK in this area, and there is a genuine concern.
Councillor Buchanan claims he's taken up the cause after receiving hundreds of letters from constituents who have had sightings.
They've came to me because they know that I'll do everything I can to try and find out exactly what's going on, to find out exactly what they're seeing. And I'm being pilloried by fellow councillors in Falkirk Council, and I have been for a number of years. I mean, we just need to look at some of the posters that's depicted about me over the years. These posters were put up in the council chambers. They were put up there for all to see, and this was a case that they tried to discredit me. But I think that this is absolutely disgraceful and ridiculous that my family and myself have had to suffer years and years and years of this type of ridicule for people that are totally ignorant.
Councillor Buchanan will be taking his crusade all the way to Westminster to demand an audience with Tony Blair. Right at the centre of the Mexican UFO phenomenon is Jaime Maussan. For Jaime, UFOs have brought money, but also fame. At the same time as he broadcasts a regular live radio program about UFOs, he's on peak time television presenting a weekly show on the same topic.
I became a journalist in 1970 because I was unhappy with so many things. The destruction of environment, jungles, the killing of animals, and I decided to use television for that. I didn't know I was going to get involved with this. I didn't want to get involved with UFOs. I thought it was dangerous for my image as a journalist, serious journalist, no, don't get involved. But then became a challenge, you know, and I asked myself, if this is really happening, if I believe it's happening, I shouldn't be afraid. Everything started on July 11, 1991, when we have a total solar eclipse. An eclipse related to the Mexican history. And I found all prophecies from the Mayas and the Aztecs. Incredibly, both of them mentioned this would be the time when we would meet the masters of the stars. That day, there were so many with videos in their hands, and they recorded these strange objects close to the sun and in the middle of the eclipse.
This scene shows what appears to be a spinning disc high above Puebla, 70 miles to the southeast of Mexico City. A strikingly similar object was claimed to have been filmed above Mexico City on the same day. It's rare for the same UFO to be recorded independently by two people. But here, there's even a third video from an amateur cameraman in Tepeji del Rio, 40 kilometers to the north of Mexico City. He says it was also shot on the same day. Whatever this object was, it sparked off the mystery of the skies above Mexico. Hundreds more sightings were caught on camera. This was known as the peekaboo video, showing an object which passes behind a cloud and then reappears.
Ya se metió otra vez, ¿no? Ahí está. Ya se metió.
This one appears to be silver on top and darker on the underside. A flying object overtakes another, and the pair are followed by two more. This unusual clip provided another mystery. Most of these objects were filmed by this group of sky watchers, calling themselves Los Vigilantes. They provide Jaime with footage for his television show.
When they don't expect that they are going to see something, it's when they see it, you know. You have to be patient, and I really admire that from them, because they have learned that. I am not able. I'm here 2, 3, 5 hours, and I say, that's it, that's it. Looking at the sky all the time, they can be here for days. They have developed ability to see what nobody can see. These objects, most of the time, are probably 15,000 feet, 30,000 feet. We are not afraid of enemies. We are not afraid of abductions. We don't attack them. This is a very friendly country. If you are going to a different planet, where would you go? Where you are well received.
Throughout Britain, there's a network of amateur UFO groups busily chasing up reports of sightings. In Kent, an intriguing video has fallen into the hands of the local organisation.
Well, I'm Jerry Anderson, and I run a UFO group in Kent called UFOMEG. We investigate all sorts of reports of UFOs, not just from Kent, but in fact all over the southeast of England. And to that end, we've actually amassed quite a comprehensive list of sightings and witnesses over a 5-year period.
The video was taken from a CCTV camera near this car park in Gravesend Town Centre. Operating it was security guard Frank Salmon.
Hi, Frank. Jerry. Oh, nice to see you, mate.
Nice to see you.
How's it going, all right?
Yeah, not too bad.
Good, so this is the place, yeah?
Yep, this is it.
Okay, and that's the camera up there?
Yeah, that's the camera.
So that's one of the many that you're operating, yeah?
That's right, yeah.
Could you run through the sequence of events from when you actually saw the object in the camera to up until you had to actually turn the camera away?
Yeah. basically it was just panning across the area that you see here. I panned down to the main road, saw it in the corner of my eye, thought no, panned back and it was there. From the video it looked saucer shaped,
Yeah.
and then triangular.
Yeah.
I followed it across the sky, it was going in a straight line. And it got to the buildings over there, and unfortunately other matters, which I can't go
Right,
into,
so-
I had to pan the camera.
That's fair
Back
enough.
off,
Hence the footage only lasting 2.5 minutes.
That's right.
Would you think that it was an experimental vehicle or something else?
Yeah, my first one would be some sort of experimental military aircraft.
Yeah.
I'm not one of these that go jumping in saying they're little green men.
The video camera pans over the car park area before settling on a dark object above the Thames estuary. It's in shot for about 2 minutes and travels at a consistent speed in a straight line. Jerry knows of no witnesses. He wants the footage to be analysed by an expert. In the absence of space scientists or Ministry of Defence moles, he's called upon UFO magazine for help. They've sent their investigator Russ Callahan down from Yorkshire to meet prison officer Jerry and examine the video.
This is sensational stuff, really. I mean, there you are, Frank, CCTV operator, catching your eyes this thing that, on first look, looks like a cloud.
It did.
First time I saw the tape, yeah, well, is it a cloud? What can we work out from it? The thing we've got to look at the speed that we're watching the video on. I mean, the actual shape, although it only takes a few seconds to cross the screen on the video, in reality takes about 2 minutes. I certainly feel it's there. I don't think it's a quirk of the camera. I feel that there's something out there.
But as far as your investigation goes, then, Russ, is there anything else you can tell us about this footage that we can't actually see?
No, I'm as amazed as you are.
Because the unusual thing about this, of course, is that we've got a camera that is not owned by you, that you're operating, that shows the time, the date, and gives a clear indication, more or less, of where it is. So that in itself is more than enough evidence to suggest that this is something that hasn't been faked, obviously.
After much deliberation, it's time for Russ to deliver his verdict.
It's an extremely interesting case. It's a shame there isn't a bit more information. The footage is there for people to see, to make their own evaluation of it. What we can certainly say, it's definitely a UFO. It's certainly unidentified, and it's an object and it's flying.
That's right.
Without Russ and his expertise, we can only guess at what the object is. I mean, at least with Russ's analysis, we've now got proof that this is a solid structured object. Unfortunately, because there's no markings on it or anything like that, we still don't know what it is. So it remains, literally, as Russ said, an unknown UFO.
UFO sightings are usually unexpected, fleeting moments. But what if it was possible to predict their arrival? Eamon Ansborough from Dublin, who once discovered a new star, claims he can do just that with what he calls the astronautical theory. In his garden shed, Eamon has mapped out what he believes are UFO flight paths over Ireland. They are based on hundreds of previous sightings.
We believe, actually, the extraterrestrial spacecraft now are keying into specific orbits around the Earth. There's about 660 tracks altogether crossing the equator. This is the typical orbital track that an extraterrestrial spacecraft takes.
Having worked out the paths, Eamon then predicts arrival times based on the position of the sun.
We believe that they operate on a sunrise or sunset relationship. In other words, if you were an extraterrestrial and you were coming to the Earth, you wouldn't have the sun actually in front of you because you'd be blinded, so you'd have the sun behind you. What the extraterrestrial spacecraft do is, we believe, is that you have a very large craft up in the stratosphere which keys into one of these orbits, and then that ejects the UFOs over the location that it wants to go for observational work. Then on another track, there's what we call the retrieval craft. It's either the same craft previously on the same track, or it's another craft which retrieves the UFOs.
Eamon has predicted visitations at around midnight tonight.
We're very confident we will see some of them because we've had 8 successes so far in the last 2 years.
But those successes have been hampered by poor technology. Eamon says this is a UFO over Boyle in County Roscommon, which was predicted by the astronautical theory. Typically, the domestic video camera image just doesn't have the clarity he wants. But Eamon has a plan.
For our observations tonight, I've specially designed and developed a new video camera that will get over this problem regarding contrast and resolution with normal video cameras.
The combined telescope and camera has cost unemployed former engineer Eamon £10,000 to build.
This is the first time I'll be using this camera tonight, and it's a very exciting time because it's taken about a year to develop this system. This specially developed camera gets over the inadequacies of normal video cameras, and also another camera which is for wide field viewing, put into this position here. If you have craft at the distance of, say, 10 miles, we'll be able to pick this up not just as a blob of light, but actually as a structure, and also to demonstrate this particularly to the scientific community. Okay, we happen to be outside mainstream doing this, and well, I suppose it's rather like Galileo, you know, he showed the moons of Jupiter to the 3 cardinals, but they didn't want to see them. So we're going to show that extraterrestrial spacecraft are here.
Among those looking to the skies in search of extraterrestrial life is Ian Morrison.
If you never try to look, you know the chance of success is precisely 0. I don't believe it will be like the War of the Worlds, I really don't. And I think I'm an optimist. I think they would come in friendship, I do hope so. They could probably teach us quite a lot.
But scientist Ian is no misguided amateur. He has at his disposal some of the most advanced technology on the planet. This is the Jodrell Bank radio telescope in Cheshire, which listens out for distant transmissions from extraterrestrials.
We're involved in Project Phoenix, and it uses about $86 million worth of equipment built by NASA. The bulk of that is not here, but at the giant 1,000-foot, 305-meter Arecibo telescope in Puerto Rico. And this is looking over the next 5 years, in conjunction with our telescope here at Jodrell Bank, at around 1,000 of the nearest stars similar to our Sun. It's called a targeted search because we're looking at those places where we suspect we are most likely to find life.
Like a radio tuning in, the telescope searches through a range of frequencies looking for a signal. So far, there's been no sign of contact from outer space.
We really don't know 2 things: how often civilizations arise, and once they have arisen, how long they survive, capable of perhaps communicating. If perhaps in 10, 20, 30 years, or even sooner, we do come in contact with some other civilization, I think it'll be pretty certain that civilizations are really very widespread. The other side of the coin is that after trying for many, many years, no signals are ever picked up. Now that could mean that there are people out there and they just don't want to communicate. To be honest, we're not actually transmitting now, we're just listening. If everybody listened and nobody transmitted, we certainly aren't going to come into contact. If people still continue to try and nothing is picked up, we might begin to get the perception that perhaps the human race is a bit special, and perhaps we should look after ourselves and our planet, you know, as well as we possibly can. It is true that programs such as Star Trek and things like this, and I've got nothing against them at all, do rather give the feeling that space travel is very easy. You can just warp yourself around the galaxy with no real problems. Now, in fact, we don't think it is that easy. We think that space travel is very difficult. Not to say it can't be done. And I do believe if someone was going to make what could be a 100-year journey to another planet, when they got there, they'd make themselves known in a very obvious way. None of my friends, astronomers, have ever come across any aliens or any UFOs or anything like that. And I feel a bit hurt, because if I were going somewhere to visit another planet, I would love to talk to people like me, because we talk the same language. And I feel very sad that no one's actually bothered to come and talk to me or my friends.
It is Eamon Ansborough's big moment. Time for him to film the UFOs he has predicted will arrive near his Dublin home. He's been joined for moral support by his wife, Catherine.
What's that?
No, a lot more to the left. No, the other way.
Oh.
My left. That's it.
As the Skywatch runs into the early hours of April Fool's Day, there's a frustrating problem. The telescope, designed to catch a UFO flashing across the sky, is unable to pick up an image of the full moon.
It's gotten so high up in the sky by now. You're getting a bit closer, over a bit more to the left, to my left. Keep going, keep going, keep going. Keep going.
Will it be more difficult doing it on a UFO than on the moon?
Oh, much more difficult. You need to set this first before you'd operate it on a UFO. But in the end, we might actually go for, if the UFO appears, then we'll just use binoculars and as a last resort.
The moon remains elusive, and in fact no ETs make an appearance either, but Eamon will not be giving up.
It's up to the extraterrestrial intelligence if they're going to appear to us. All we can demonstrate is that we have scientific evidence to show that that we can predict them, all right. But okay, there's situations where they don't actually turn up.
Coming up, the Mexican UFO video which fetched £25,000. And some crashed UFO debris can be yours at a snip for £150,000.
If that's not a piece of flying saucer, I'll kiss your ass and beg your pardon.
Laughlin is a casino town in the middle of America's Nevada desert. It's the setting for this year's International UFO Congress. A chance for like-minded people from all over the world to share their views and pick up some merchandise.
What I've got here is a piece of a crashed extraterrestrial craft, an actual UFO, interstellar starship, or whatever you want to call it.
The reason that some of these spacecraft disguise themselves as clouds is because they cannot force their reality on us. There has to be a balance. People that cannot handle this will simply say it's a strange-looking cloud, and then many others who know about these UFOs and extraterrestrials will know who they really are.
Childhood friends' parents saw this thing crash in 1947, and they told him when he was a little boy, "You dig it up when you grow up." The old man said that it was glowing like a ball of fire, but that it wasn't going fast. It was slowing down. He said, knocked the top off a couple trees and set them on fire, and then it stopped. He said, like a parking car, because he was real adamant about that. He said, like a parking car, boy. He said, and just stopped and fell the last 30 feet to the ground on the side of a hill in a ditch, and it was so hot, it was 3 days before they could even get close to it.
They will purposely pose to allow photographs to be taken.
This one, 60-some thousand. This is 17,000. These are several thousand. These are a few hundred. This one's part of a three-piece set that shows the shaft, the box, and another piece that's not out there, and they're offered taking bids at $250,000.
They're interrelated with us. They say that they're our ancestors.
Some people from New Zealand came and bought 7 or 8 grams from me at $100 a gram.
And these beings are humans. They look just like us.
And I have all the scientific paperwork, a certificate of authenticity, Jaguar King on there. I have just a little bit of this material, and there's enough people that do believe it.
They say that the key to all of our problems on this planet is we can't just keep raping it.
Because as we say down south, if that's not a piece of flying saucer, I'll kiss your ass and beg your pardon.
The week-long annual conference has attracted more than 400 visitors. Whatever you want to know about extraterrestrials, there'll be someone here with an answer. If your question concerns implants from aliens, you can even find a qualified surgeon who claims to extract them from his patients, Dr. Roger Lear.
This is a photograph of the first object that was removed in 1995. It is the T-shaped object and appears here on a surgical gauze sponge. It's covered with this very dark gray shiny membrane. To date, we have performed 8 separate surgeries, and the 8 surgeries have produced 9 objects. The question being, does the research show that extraterrestrials have intervened by placing objects in the bodies of abductees? If there is indeed another logical scientific explanation, I would be the first to acknowledge it.
Giorgio Bongiovanni from Italy believes he was sent by an apparition to prepare people for the coming of extraterrestrials and has developed stigmata, the wounds of Christ.
Every day my wounds
sangran.
bleed.
Ahora tengo las heridas cerradas.
Today,
pero
right
vivas.
now, my wounds are closed, but they are.
Cada día se abren.
But they're live
Se
wounds.
abren las heridas.
And every day my wounds open, as I'm
sale la
showing you,
sangre.
and they bleed.
A.J. Javard is heading into town. He's editor of a Brazilian UFO magazine, but the way the phenomenon is shaping up lately has been bothering him. He says people are rejecting traditional religions and turning to aliens instead.
Lots of people have managed to fill their emptiness with ufology. So ufology has become some sort of a new religion or something. But for fanatic people, I don't agree with that. Because it's like if you take Jesus out of the cross and put an alien on it. Like you start to think that you're going to be saved by aliens, that they're going to come here when the Armageddon is coming and take the selected ones, the elected ones to other planets. Well, all the evidences that we have about the UFO phenomena in this planet and all over the world doesn't match with those ideas. These people in their previous religions, they haven't seen Jesus, they haven't seen God.
But it seems everyone at the conference has seen a UFO.
It was really fast, possibly interdimensional, and it just cruised through the apartment at a high rate of speed.
No sooner did she come out, a couple sparks came flying off the sides of it.
And I said, oh, Jan, look up there. There's a light that's making this triangle, and it just keeps doing it.
All I saw was 2 big red eyes looking in my window.
Airplanes don't do that. That's not a helicopter.
They are of zircon content with other materials. I can't substantiate that, but I do believe that they are crystal ships, so to speak.
And changed angles, but turned into a kind of like a a cotton ball.
They're coming to let us know that we need to expand our understanding, that we need to expand our beliefs.
2 women have come to the conference to talk about their experiences. Both formerly had normal lives. Prudence Calabrese was a lab worker designing magnets. Elizabeth Robinson was a clinical social worker in Sydney, Australia, and happily married with a child. But both their lives were to take a dramatic change of course.
I was just doing some housework and my eyes were taken by 3 non-human beings. I thought these beings were evil, I thought that they were bad, that they were here to, that they were very threatening.
I walked into the bathroom and there was a short little gray-looking alien standing on the bath mat next to the toilet, and I tried to scream because it really scared me.
I began to become very psychic. I'd be able to almost download information like it was coming from the universal internet, and my husband would come home from work and I'd be able to, information would just come to me about business things or about personal things, and then I developed healing capacity.
I don't get any information about myself. There's nothing in it about my life and my relationships and my goals and my future. It's all about other things. Much of it's kind of intergalactic gossip more than anything.
Elizabeth felt she needed support from her husband.
I'm sure he thought that I was going around the bend. I think he really thought I was crazy. I thought I was crazy. It didn't come into his belief system. It didn't come into his understanding. And so he wasn't able to give me any support in that. Not a hug, not, to be there when I was crying. He would literally leave the room.
My partner definitely believes the story only because he knows me very well, and I haven't been untruthful about anything else in my life, so he just is assuming that this is real. Most people laugh at it, and I encourage that. If anyone believes me, I would think that there is something a little bit wrong with them.
As a direct result of my experiences and my journey around this, we have separated.
There's an alien in my bathroom, and that's just not a common occurrence. It's outside of everyone's reality on this planet. And it's still outside of my reality. It's something that even I laugh at, and I wonder if it's true myself.
Scottish councillor Billy Buchanan is in Westminster to demand a government inquiry into UFO sightings above his town.
The reason I'm down here today is because I contacted 10 Downing Street personally, and I asked to speak to the Prime Minister. So I told them that I was going to come down with a demand notice. I'll read it out. It just says, Prime Minister, I have contacted you on a number of occasions regarding the ongoing UFO phenomenon in my area. You've always passed the buck to the door of the Minister of Defence, who continually dismiss this phenomenon in their usual laid-back manner. I find this frustrating, not only for me, but also for the thousands of individuals who have come forward with their unexplained sightings and who are still coming forward.
The timing of the visit is unfortunate. Tony Blair has a lot on his mind. It's 3 days since NATO began its bombing of Serbia.
Obviously, the Prime Minister will be busy with the Serbian situation, and I hope that the matter is resolved for peace in the world throughout. But I'm still handing this in today because of the fact that this has been going on for 6 years, and we finally want an answer to what's happening. People will laugh and they'll pour ridicule on the fact that I'm coming down to do this, but what else can I do? I mean, I've written to the Ministry of Defence, I've written to the Prime Minister, I've written to the local MP, I've written to Bill Clinton, I've written to Boris Yeltsin. I mean, I've written to everybody, and at the end of the day, there's nothing happening. Good morning. Good morning. My name's Councillor Buchanan. I'm a local government councillor from Scotland. I'll show my identification. That's my identification badge. Now, what happened is I've been in contact with Mr. Blair, the Prime Minister, in relation to a petition and a demand for an investigation into this UFO phenomenon we've got in our area. I'm a local councillor for Falkirk and for Bonnybridge in the Falkirk Council. Right, thank you.
Get back to us.
No, that's fine, thank you.
Unfortunately, they've no record of any phone calls or anybody
the office, they say you can't come up. We can take it in on your behalf.
All right.
And that's the only way they let you in.
Fine,
Right,
I think...
You can't remember, we'll take that on your behalf and take it up.
Right, so you'll make sure the Prime Minister gets that. I find it a wee bit strange. I've been contacting them for a...
Your best bet, if you write a letter...
I've been writing,
and, yeah,
I've been writing...
It's the name of a contact, really, of who you're dealing with. If you're dealing with one person all the time, then you can quote their name and they might have a record.
Well, I've been dealing with Tony Blair's secretary.
Well, they have no knowledge of anything. So, but we'll take this up.
They have no knowledge in it. I find that strange. Right, thank you very much. Thank you.
So what's the verdict?
Well, the verdict is that, and I find it very strange, that after months and in fact years, Tony Blair being the Prime Minister, the fact is that they're saying now that they've never had any correspondence from me. I mean, I find that incredible. Overall, I think that the visit down here has been fruitful. Very disappointed with the situation at Downing Street. I will continue to fight because I can't let this go. We deserve an answer, there will be an answer, and hopefully it'll come in the not too distant future. But Billy Buchanan will continue to fight for an answer for the people of his area.
Coming up, a flying disc over Dorset, or is this video just too good to be true?
I only filmed and saw what I saw. The whole event just seemed completely unlike anything else I'd experienced.
And who's really behind the most expensive UFO footage ever?
This man told me that he didn't want to go public.
I became aware of this object in the middle of my windscreen that I was driving straight towards. I carried on driving for about a minute, and then I realised that this wasn't like an ordinary plane or a helicopter or whatever. I suppose it could be something extraterrestrial. I mean, it would be just really arrogant to think that we were completely alone in the universe. But at the same time, you know, I only filmed and saw what I saw. Yeah. Well, to people who say that it must be a plane or something like that, I'd say, you know, just take a long, hard look at this thing, because it just doesn't look like any of those things. And, you know, I can't imagine how anyone could think it was anything like that. After 2 minutes or so, I think, it actually flew, I'm not sure entirely, but I think it was right overhead. And it had sort of turned into like a black circle, and all I could see was just this kind of black circle. I wasn't frightened or elated. The whole event just seemed completely strange and completely something unlike anything else I'd experienced, really.
We was having a barbecue in the garden, and I'd gone indoors for some reason, I can't remember why, and I could hear my brother shouting to me that there's something in the sky. So I've immediately picked up the video camera, rushed downstairs, switched it on halfway going through the house, and as I've come out, everyone's all pointing to this object in the sky.
Here it is. He's just moved over slightly.
What, it's moving?
It's there.
Where?
There.
This was moving against the wind towards some clouds.
Yeah.
It's just going to go. It's just going to go beyond the cloud.
Just carried on filming it, and as everyone was looking at it, and I said, clear your minds, you know, try and get it to come down or something, you know, and but it didn't.
Let's have a look, Ron.
It's gone beyond the cloud.
Also, there's another object I call the bin liner, because when I first saw it, that's what I thought it was. As it hurtled across the sky, in a wide arc, heading, as it was disappearing over the into the distance, it was going towards Canary Wharf from my perspective in Manor Park. Well, they're certainly not conventional craft. I mean, just the inertia, if anyone was inside them, you know, the change of direction I've often seen, you wouldn't live through a thing like that.
Dozens of UFOs have been filmed from the rooftops of Mexico City. Many believe them to be extraterrestrial spacecraft, but are they being deceived by simple illusions and everyday objects? Among those looking to the skies is Carlos Clemente.
They are UFOs. I dare not say any more because I would be lying. They are simply unidentified flying objects, which are there, but we don't know why.
Carlos's sightings include this object.
The top part was shining and the bottom was dark, and it was moving really slowly. It caught my attention and I decided to film it.
He filmed a similar object 4 weeks later.
It was the same shape, and I tell you, it really caught my attention because it stayed stable, very stable. I've seen balloons, but it didn't seem like a balloon, so I filmed it. It was very strange.
Salvador Guerrero has also spent countless hours on his roof with a camera.
To me, these objects are sensational. To have them on video, to show the world that we are not alone, that there is life in the universe, which is visiting us. This is my purpose.
He filmed these objects in a V formation. And this white object behind a radio mast. When the video is now sped up, its unusual erratic motion becomes apparent. Salvador suddenly spots something in the sky. At first, the object hovering just below the cloud line is so far away it's very difficult to pick out. But tantalizingly, it seems to be coming closer, and it clearly isn't a plane or a balloon. On close inspection, however, not everything is as it seems. The most spectacular Mexican image is in the hands of Jaime Mausen.
On September 26, 1997, I received an envelope with a videotape and a letter. In this letter, they said that they had recorded this video when they were eating in the office. Then I saw this incredible tape.
No lo creo, güey, no mames.
Se ve perfecto.
No mames.
Se ve perfecto.
Güey, no
Órale.
mames, puta, estás grabando, cabrón, no mames.
Sí, está el foquito prendido.
Puta madre.
Puta, se ve
esa madre,
padrísimo.
¿Qué pedo,
bárbaro.
No mames, ¿de qué? O sea, no es un avión esa madre, ¿qué pedo? No mames, cabrón.
No lo veo.
I think that the video is the most spectacular, sensational video of a UFO. And I asked the man who had recorded this to come out into the open, because when you have something anonymous, I know it's going to be attacked. Then we had to know the name, but so far we have been unsuccessful. In this letter, this man told me that he didn't want to go public because he would have many problems.
The source of the tape remained a complete mystery. But there were many more questions, like where was it taken from? The scene from the footage is in Bosques de las Lomas in the southeast of Mexico City. To match up an identical shot, A camera has to be on this balcony in a nearby office block. The premises were empty on the date shown in the video, August the 6th, 1997, which doesn't help in the search for whoever shot it. If such a craft were to fly over a densely populated urban area like Mexico City, there should be hundreds of witnesses. In fact, there are some who claim to have seen it on that day.
Yes, I was in the parking lot with my friend, and we saw something that was shining. It was like a balloon, and it was flying over that way. And then she told me, "Look at that." We saw it for about 10 seconds, and then it disappeared. It was going from that direction to that way.
Also claiming to be a witness is student Annie Lask.
I was doing a photo shoot for a homework at school. I was taking the pictures, and suddenly I felt a really big cloud over me. I looked up, and there this thing was floating on top of my head. I remembered I had my camera, so I turned around, and I looked for it because I had a lot of clothes on the floor, and I grabbed it, and it wasn't there anymore.
If people suggested to you that it wasn't true or that you were imagining things, what would you say to them?
Well, nobody can tell me what I saw. I saw it, and I know it's true. And I would tell them that there's something out there, there's something really big.
If the August the 6th footage was faked, a likely motive would have been money. Whoever made it could have hit the jackpot. Instead, Arizona couple Britt and Lee Elders have cashed in. They hold the world TV rights on the Mexican footage outside Latin America. A percentage of their profits goes back to Jaime Mausen.
We have about 500 or 600 videotapes in our library from Mexico. Right now, we have 14 different types of UFOs that have been seen over Mexico. It's really remarkable. There's nothing else like it happening in the world.
We have our own website, Genesis 3 Publishing, which allows anybody worldwide access the internet, come in, look at our site, see what type of information we have available, what type of visuals they can license. We have over 30 companies worldwide that have licensed material from us. Anybody seeking real, exotic, and real good UFO material can come to us. It's a one-stop shopping type thing of where we can, one, guarantee them good resolution, good quality on the material, but most important, we can guarantee, as license holders, we can license the rights to them.
Maybe 20% are definitely explainable. The remaining 80%, you really have to look at closely.
And how many dollars a year do you think you're making from your licensing and your videos?
Oh, I would estimate somewhere around 50 to 75,000 perhaps, in a good year.
Last year, Henry Winkler, better known as the Fonz from Happy Days, produced a program about UFOs. He came to Britt and Lee for the rights to show this footage in his documentary for the United Paramount Network, or UPN.
UPN paid a record price for the August 6th footage. They paid $1,000 per second.
And how much was that altogether?
It was 35 seconds.
That $35,000 was just the beginning.
Australia has been interested, Italy, Germany, France, and we have, as we speak, another film crew from Fuji is asking questions about it.
If any of the television companies use the Mexican material without paying up, Lee has a top Hollywood lawyer ready to sue, but he doesn't like to talk about it.
Yeah, I think that's, that situation is very confidential. It's proprietary, and I would never discuss it on a television show. You could have the greatest UFO footage in the world, and you wouldn't know if it's real or if it's not real.
The video could be a hoax. Anything can be a hoax. Why? Because you can produce anything in a computer.
If it's too sharp, it's a hoax. And if it's too blurred, then you can't tell what it is.
I know there are lots of sightings and things like that,
But I also know from my own experience that the eye-brain combination is a very poor observer.
They actually have made contact. That's the thing. They've been making contact for the last 50 years. But, you know, it's like everything else. You know, there's a xenophobic attitude when you're dealing with the unknown.
The point is, we match the information coming in through our eyes with things we've stored up in our brains. And when you get a match, you see not just what comes in, but what's in your brain already.
And I call it alien because it looks like a gray ET. Some nights he just doesn't show up, and when that happens, I wonder if he's okay.
We're amateurs right now. We're amateur investigators. We have more questions than answers.
Well, hey, how am I going to talk to you about aliens if you don't even believe God exists?